is pretty much in a click of a button, everything can be done for you. So we got to take a look at how to pay an employee. That was easy. Now let's actually look at how to pay the payroll liabilities. So again, same exact way that you can be able to pay your payroll liabilities is, again, you're going to go through either the home page, right? You go down to the bottom. So you hear home page down at the bottom. Click pay liabilities. Okay, as you can see, you have one liability that is due. If you go to the payroll center, same thing there. You just go to the other side, right? Once you're in here, you go click on pay liabilities tab right here. And there you go. And of course, if you have it on, then it should be able to be something here. You're going to go ahead and pay your liabilities here. Pay taxes and liabilities. Boom. Okay. And it even tells you what you want to do. You could pay / schedule your liabilities, XYZ. So again, yes. But now, since I'm already here on my pay liabilities tab in my payroll center, all I do is I got to click here and say, well, I got two things that are due. I got a payment due tomorrow for the federal 941, and then I have my California withholdings that I have to pay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select one first. I can select both of them if I like. So here I selected both of them, and I'm going to go ahead and click view / pay. So by doing that, then my pay liability scheduler pops up right here, and what do you know? It looks familiar, right? It looks like a check. And that's what you gotta do. All you gotta do is make sure that it's from your checking account, and everything's gonna be set up for you because we already set this up last week through the payroll setup. So now we set our scheduled liabilities to be paid. We set up the agency that it's going to go to. We set up all that information. So now all we have to do is hit that button on when to pay it, make the check available on the date. Okay, so I'm making it available on the 16th because it's due on the 16th. As I can see, I've collected so far $2,538 worth of taxes for this particular one, for the federal withholdings, the Medicare, and the Medicare for the employee. So all I gotta do is just verify these are the correct ones, and all I have to do is just click either save and close or save and next. Save and next is gonna bring the next paycheck for me. So there you go. I got that beep of approval. So now the next check I'm going to write out is going to be for this one, for the checking. So this one I actually had this electronically transferred. So I can either choose to either have them to be printed, or I can actually, I'm going to make it available for tomorrow. So again, it's another check. Made sure that this is the correct address and not. And this time I'm paying it to the Employment Development and Department, okay? So the EDD. And here you go. I validate that I'm going to pay California withholding tax and also California disability tax. So now that those numbers are valid, I'm going to go ahead, save and close. I get that last beep of approval. So now the next thing is that should give me a window to go ahead and actually print my checks. So again, this is what it here is. So payroll liabilities, and I'm just going to make sure that these go through and that I ensure that I make these printed checks available. So I'm going to go ahead and click print checks, and it gives me this window. And I select those two checks, starting with the number 6071. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Same thing. Instead of doing voucher style, I'm going to do standard style so I don't waste too much paper with that. I don't need to give them a description of what I'm making payments for. But you can if you'd like. That's not an issue. You can be descriptive of saying, well, this is the detail breaking down of exactly what I'm paying you. Or they should know by filing that 941 and that 940 to pay your taxes, they should know automatically what is going to be calculated as. Here, you're going to click standard because I'm just going to print them all in a couple paychecks. Again, I'm going to go get my signature file, confirm. Here's Vern Black, and I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So I'm going to print it. Then it's going to ask me to save it. So I'm going to save this as EDD and EFTPS, I think. I can't remember. I think it's
EFTPS.
liabilities for 12, 16, 19. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and save. So I have that report there, and then it's going to print these checks for me. All right, and I'm going to click OK. So now that that is done, now this for surely better show up on my checking account because I just made a payment. So there you go. And it tells me here now that I got rid of those 2 payments. Now the next one that's due is going to be in the next month. And I have my trail of transaction here that I paid the EDD and I also paid the FTPS on the place. Okay, so there you go. I have check number 6072 and 6071. So those are all there. And that was easy. That's it. It does all the calculation for you. It collects everything, and all you have to do is just click the payment button. How hard is that? All right, any questions? Nope. Okay, that's the great thing about having a payroll service. So then you don't have to calculate this, or you don't have to go check your accounts to verify that this is the correct amount. Okay. So when you're doing this for your actual business, since you guys are doing manual payroll, you're going to have to actually manually calculate which goes where, right, according to which check, or I mean which agency that you're going to pay. You're going to place them in the vendor area. So then when you write a check out to them, it fills the information already, and you're just going to pay them for the amount. Now, is it going to utilize the whole payroll item or the whole payroll section? No, it's not. So if you're doing manual payroll, that's the only thing that's going to be off, is you're going to be utilizing the main accounts, and you're going to be doing those a manual transaction versus an actual the payroll services. Okay, the payroll services is actually going to decrease your liabilities and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so you do need to make those journal entries in order to complete these. All right, that's the only difference here. Okay. All right, so now that we got to pay our liabilities, see, that was fairly quick and easy. Okay, and as we see here on my home page, I no longer have any liabilities due. That little red little button that says I had something, gone. Okay. So, yes, so it's cool how QuickBooks can notify you. You can even schedule reminders if you'd like to actually have a pop-up window for you to remind you that you have things that are due. But usually if you are the payroll person, your main focus is just only focus on just looking at the payroll section. And you should know by now how often you need to pay the government. It's not hard. Okay. Now, creating payroll reports. So again, I'm going to talk briefly about the file form section. Okay. In your book, it says that you have the file forms or process payroll forms. So this is, again, if you have the highest level. So in this case, you guys must have either, I believe if you have enhanced or if you have the full service, then you can go ahead and use the process file forms little section here on the payroll center. So what that does is it allows you to compile all your forms and actually submit it to the IRS. And with the payroll services, it does it for you. So you don't have to actually do much. All you have to do is just pull up the form and it pulls all the information from your paychecks, from every paycheck that you have. It pulls out all the information of um, all the liabilities that you owe and all the payments that you've made, and it's gonna file the form for you. So that's just that additional section right there, and you need to have a higher level of payroll services to be able to do that. But you can, for example, when we do look into this section, if you are planning to process the payroll form, then that's where you'll place it. But for most cases, you will not have that section available due to not having that service. Okay, so it says right here, you must download and install the latest blah blah blah, and you're gonna click OK, and then that's what it looks like. So it's where you can file your forms and stuff. But in this case, we're assuming that this is going to be the most basic one, so you will not have access to do this one. All right. Yeah. And then last but not least is going to be report forms. So there are two that I actually am going to go over because it's actually pretty straightforward in regards to looking at your items. So the first one is going to be your payroll summary report. So again, this is going to be, you can find it at your reports at the top. And it's going to be under employees and payroll. And then, of course, we're going to look at the payroll summary. You could do payroll summary, paid item detail. So looking at each payroll item that was enlisted. But let's look at the summary first. Okay. Again, you have to change the date so then it's current or custom. So I'm going to go ahead and click to December 2019, 16. All right, and I'm going to click that refresh button, and there you go. This is pretty much gives you a little description of each person. So here is the total for Katie. Here's the total for Mike, and this is all. I believe I set this to be a custom, so it's just from the it's just from as of December 16. Okay, so here's everything that you need to know in regards to what these amounts were paid for. Okay, what taxes they were subject to, what deductions were they taken away from their paycheck. Okay, how much money did they earn. Okay, so that's pretty much that there. So this is good for HR, you know, if they are making sure that they do their annual reports to make sure that they pay their employees correctly. All right. Other ones I wanted to show you is going to be your payroll liability details, because that's for example, the payroll liabilities balance detail. You come here, it's going to pull up all the information on the balances for each account. So again, we just paid off majority of them. So as you can see, for September, December, okay, so now we're looking at November. So this is as of November 2019. We're going to change this because I want to look at maybe I just only want to look at just December. Okay, if I want to look at just December of 16, all right, so I can pull all this information. Boom, I'm going to hit the refresh button, so it should only show me just only that one thing. Okay, so here, it's showing me that as of December, these are all the taxes that I am subject to pay and what their balances are. Okay, so I'm still due for a few things here. I paid off this one, I paid off this one, and this one. So my balances are there. So again, when I paid my California, right, it's gone now. So there you go. So this gives you basically a detail on how much you actually owe in regards to your payments to the government, right? And that's pretty much it. Other than that, if you're not the HR, then I wouldn't see these reports would be as important to you as it may sound. But other than that, any questions in regards to the payroll process?
Nope.
Nope. All right, let me go find those review questions. Okay. Okay. Here you go. Okay, so question number 1. All right. To properly affect the payroll items, okay, which function from the employees section of the home page should you use to pay the payroll taxes?
I said D. Pay liability.
Pretty straightforward. Pay liabilities. Yes, that is correct. You're not going to write a check because that makes no association. You only write a check if it's manual. Okay? Pay bills, obviously, is not a bill. You're not going to receive a bill because this is a mandatory thing that you are required to pay every month. And of course, you're not paying the employees, you're paying taxes. So it's to pay liabilities. Good. Number 2, which style of checks would you use for processing payroll?
No, that's not what it says.
Oh.
Voucher checks,
Sorry.
voucher style checks
Okay.
when used for payroll processing.
May
May
contain.
contain all of the above. Is what I got.
Yes. Sorry about that. Thank you for reading that again. So yes, it does include the earnings. We talked about this. We showed you a brief example of it. So you do see the earnings. You do see the adjustments to net pay. And of course, you also get to see the federal filing status as well. Like, are you single? Yes, you do see that. That is important. All right, number 3, okay. The payroll liability balance reports, it identifies.
I got B on this. Liability amount by payroll item.
Yes, that is true. The first one we see liability payments made during the payment period. No, it does not show you when you paid it. It just shows you their balance. Okay, which again we talked about. They show the balance based on each payroll item. Good. Number 4, which statement is true?
A.
You can print pay stubs at any time. Yes. Okay. Let me see. B says pay stubs print 2 per page. You can print 2 per page, but that's not true. If you find an error, okay, so it's on a past paycheck, you should delete. Remember, we say no deleting, never delete. And in D, you cannot void a paycheck. Yes, you can void a paycheck.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a weird one.
Yes, you can.
I'm going with A.
It definitely, so there's circumstances of when you can void a paycheck. All right. And lastly, number 5, to begin the processing your payroll.
D. Yes, I chose D as well.
D, choose pay employees from the employee section of the home page. What is it? Okay, so to begin processing your payroll. Yes, D is the correct answer. You're not going to write a check again unless you're doing a manual payroll. Select the employee menu and then select pay schedule liabilities. We're not paying our liabilities, we're processing payroll. And then the second one says select the payroll menu and then select process payroll. There is no option that says process payroll, it's just pay employees. Good. All right. Okay, well, again, today's Monday, so I'm going to have you guys go ahead and enjoy your day off. Tomorrow, we're going to go over chapter 13. Nothing due this week, just a reminder. Things to look forward to is going to be